Hi guys everyone! Today we have a scary video dedicated to the Japanese suicide forest. The video is really creepy. Please watch it to the end because who I saw at the end, I can't just put it into words. It needs to be seen. I received a message from a man who was no longer online, not just offline. His account has been deleted. When I clicked on the profile, Roblox was showing an error. Nicknames, avatars, game stories, there's nothing left. Just one old message that was somehow still in my personal ones. It said, if you find a lake, don't look into it for a long time. And everything, no greeting, no explanation, no reason. Normally, I would just ignore such a message, but there was a link to the server along with it. The name of the card was in Japanese. The translator gave something like, the forest that doesn't want to let go. I went in. At first, there was nothing unusual. Just the forest. The endless forest. Tall, dark trees stretched away into the sky, which was hidden by a thick fog. The ground was covered with leaves, and there were no roads, buildings, or landmarks between the trunks. Just trees. Hundreds. Thousands, whichever way you look. I started walking forward. A few minutes passed, then a few more. But nothing has changed. The forest looked the same from all sides. I even turned around on purpose to check if I was walking in circles. That's when I noticed the first oddity, traces. There were shoe marks on the ground behind me, but they weren't mine. My footprints led forward, and they followed me. It was as if someone was following a few meters away. I turned the camera sharply. No one. Only the fog between the trees. But the feeling remained. Someone was here, and he didn't want to show up. I continued on my way. Sometimes it seemed to me that someone was standing between the trees, a dark silhouette. Tall, motionless, but if you looked directly, there was nothing. Just the forest, over and over again. At some point, I started noticing strange ribbons on the branches, white stripes of fabric. They hung on the trees at regular intervals. It was as if someone had left marks. And the further I went, the more they became. Until finally, I saw the water. Lake. It appeared quite unexpectedly. It's just that the forest is over, and there was a perfectly smooth surface in front of me, so calm that it looked like glass. Not a single wave, not a single sound. Even the wind has disappeared here. I came closer, and immediately I felt a strange desire. Look into the water, don't just take a look, and get even closer, more and more. It was as if the lake was calling, not with my voice, and with some thought inside my head. It was like someone was whispering, come here, take a look. There's something there. I stopped, and I remembered the message. If you find a lake, don't look into it for a long time. So I took the camera aside, and at that moment, I heard a sound, very quiet. It was as if someone had taken a step on the water. I looked back sharply. No one. The forest again. More fog. But now it seemed to me that the trees were closer. Much closer. It was like I was looking at a lake. The forest around me slowly shifted towards me. And then I noticed something else. There was a figure standing on the opposite bank, very far away, almost indistinguishable. High, motionless, she was looking straight at me. And somehow I was sure. When I came to the lake a few seconds ago, she wasn't there. I continued to stare at the figure on the other shore. She didn't move, generally. The fog slowly passed between the trees. The leaves swayed from the weak wind, and sometimes barely noticeable ripples ran through the water. But the figure remained absolutely motionless. I decided to go around the lake. I wanted to figure out who it was, player, NPC, or just a part of the map. But the longer I walked along the shore, the stranger everything became. The figure did not change position. She always stayed in front of me. It was as if she was moving at the same time as me, at the same distance. I quickened my pace. She was still standing in front of him. I ran. And then, for the first time, I noticed that the forest around me had changed. Old wooden plaques with Japanese symbols appeared on the trees. Some were split. Some have turned black with age. But on one of them, the text was still legible. The translator only gave out a few words. Don't look up. I involuntarily raised the camera and immediately regretted it. There was something between the treetops. Something so huge that at first the brain refused to understand what it saw. It was as if a giant shadow was moving over the forest in the fog. I only managed to see a part of the silhouette, a huge helmet, something similar to shoulder pads, and two glowing dots where the eyes should have been. After that, the fog covered everything back up. My heart started beating faster. Now I understood. The figure on the other bank was not the main problem. She was just a part of something much bigger. I kept walking, and soon I saw another sign. There was only one sentence on it. He's looking through the water. I automatically turned towards the lake and froze because the figure on the opposite shore had disappeared, but her reflection remained. The water showed a man, although there was no one on the shore anymore. The reflection stood and looked at me by itself. I took a step back. The reflection took a step forward. At that moment, the water trembled for the first time. Circles began to form on its surface. Gradually, it was as if something was rising from below. And then I heard a sound, very far away, metal. It was as if someone had pulled out a huge sword from its scabbard. The earth trembled at the sound. The trees began to creak. The fog began to move. And from the depths of the forest came another sound. Step. One single step. But it was so heavy that several trees ahead just tilted to the sides. It was as if someone had passed between them. I looked up, and I saw him, a huge samurai. He towered over the forest. His head was taller than the trees. The old armor was covered with moss and dark spots, as if it had been lying underground for hundreds of years. The face was not visible. He was hidden by a mask. But the eyes glowed with a pale white light, and they were looking directly at the lake. Not at me, to the lake. It was as if he was waiting for something. And then I understood. He wasn't guarding the forest. He was guarding what was under the water. The lake stirred again, stronger now. Dozens of human faces began to appear on the surface. They appeared literally for a second and disappeared back into the depths. Some were screaming, some were crying, some just watched. And they were all directed at me as if they were asking to come closer, very close. I took a step forward. He didn't understand why. Then another one. I was drawn to the water. It's getting stronger with every step. And the samurai continued to watch, motionless. It was like he was checking what I would choose. The water was only a meter away, then half a meter. And that's when I remembered the message. The first message. The one that the deleted account sent. If you find a lake, don't look into it for a long time. I turned away abruptly and he ran, without looking back. After a few seconds, the forest began to disappear. The fog lifted, the trees were gone, and then the server just shut down, by myself. It's like I've been thrown out. The next day, I tried to find the map again, but she no longer existed. No name, no links, no footprints. It's like the server never existed, except for one detail. There's still that warning in the message history. But now there is another line there, which wasn't there before, just 4 words. He's still waiting.